You know, we're in the middle of one of the single most important technological upgrades of our lifetime, and chances are you haven't even noticed. It's the race to build quantum-proof encryption, and it affects, well, pretty much everything.
And when I say everything, I mean everything. Your bank details, your private messages, your company's most valuable trade secrets. For decades, they've all been protected by a digital lock. But a completely new kind of key, a quantum key, is coming, and it's threatening to blow that lock wide open.
Now, this isn't some far-off science fiction plot. It's what experts have been calling the crypto apocalypse. The very foundation of our digital security is facing a real existential threat, and a quiet, high-stakes race to fix it has been going on for years now.
So for more than 40 years, our digital security has been built on a simple premise: math problems that are just way too hard for even our best supercomputers to solve. Think of algorithms like RSA and ECC. But way back in 1994, a mathematician named Peter Shor came up with an algorithm that proved a powerful enough quantum computer could solve these problems like it was nothing, completely changing the rules of the game.
And here's the part that should really get your attention. This isn't some problem for the distant future. The strategy adversaries are using is called store now, decrypt later. It means they are hoovering up massive amounts of encrypted data right now and just sitting on it, banking on the fact that in, say, 10 or 15 years, a quantum computer will be able to crack it all open. So any data that needs to stay secret for that long is already vulnerable.
So what do? How do you replace the entire foundation of internet security before it's too late? Well, you hold a competition, a global one. And that's exactly what the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, did. They kicked off one of the most intense cryptographic contests in history.
And let me tell you, this was no weekend hackathon. This was an 8-year cryptographic bake-off. It all started back in 2016 with 69 different candidates from all over the world. And over the next several years, they were all publicly attacked and analyzed, whittled down until only the toughest ones were left standing.
The finalists came from a few different schools of thought, mathematically speaking, and this diversity was totally intentional, right? You don't want to bet the entire farm on just one horse. So we had algorithms based on lattices, on error-correcting codes, and even on this really complex field called isogenies. All of them were competing to be the best all-around performer. And wow, the stakes were incredibly high. Just to give you an idea, an algorithm called Psych, which was a real favorite because of its super tiny key sizes, well, it got completely and utterly broken by researchers. And not with a quantum computer, but with a regular old classical computer. It was a huge shock and a powerful reminder of why this whole process had to be so brutal. This table really breaks down the tough choices the judges had to make. Take a look at classic McAleese. Its security confidence is very high because, hey, it's been around since 1978. But its public keys are gigantic, over 260,000 bytes. That's just not going to fly for most of what we do on the internet today. But then you look at the lattice-based guys, and their keys are tiny. Kyber, or KEM, really hit this perfect sweet spot. Small key size, super fast performance, and solid security. It was the best all-rounder for the job.
And so after years and years of intense debate and evaluation, a winner for general-purpose encryption was finally chosen. A new gold standard was picked to protect our digital lives for the next generation. And the winner was Crystal's Kyber. In August of 2024, it was officially published as the new federal standard, FIPS 203, and it got its formal government name, KEM. It stands for Module Lattice-Based Key Encapsulation Mechanism. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but that's what we'll be seeing everywhere soon.
So, how on earth does this new algorithm actually work? Well, the core idea behind it is beautifully counterintuitive. It literally creates security by deliberately introducing errors into the math.
I know, it sounds totally backwards, doesn't it? How can adding a mistake, a bit of noise, actually make something more secure? Well, the answer lies in a concept called learning with errors. Okay, so the big idea here is learning with errors, or LWE. Look at this first equation. A times S equals B. That's pretty easy to solve for the secret S. But now, look what happens when you add a tiny secret error term, E, into the mix. Suddenly, that problem becomes impossibly hard to solve. That little bit of noise basically scrambles the whole thing, making it impossible for an attacker to work backwards and figure out what the original secret was. And Kyber is really just the peak of this idea after years of refinement. The original LWE concept was just too slow and clunky for the real world. So then came a faster version called Ring LWE, but it was a little too rigid. Kyber's approach, Module LWE, is this clever hybrid that gives us the best of both worlds, all the speed we need with the flexibility to make it a true global standard.
But, okay, standardizing an algorithm is one thing. Actually deploying it to protect the entire world is something else entirely. The moment Kyber was announced as the winner, it was put under an absolutely intense microscope by academics and engineers everywhere.
One of the biggest debates came from a really prominent cryptographer, Daniel J. Bernstein. He argued that NIST's models for calculating Kyber's security were a bit too optimistic. NIST, for their part, defended their models as being conservative. But this whole back and forth really highlights just how tricky it is to measure security against a computer that doesn't even exist yet.
But the threats aren't just theoretical math problems. There are also these really practical, sneaky attacks. A side-channel attack, for example, doesn't try to break the math at all. Instead, it just exploits the physical world, like the precise amount of time a computer takes to perform an operation.
And this is exactly what happened with a vulnerability called Kyber Slash. Researchers discovered that in many implementations of Kyber, one little division operation took a slightly different amount of time depending on the numbers involved. And by carefully measuring that tiny difference, an attacker could piece together the entire secret key. It was a huge wake-up call that having secure math means nothing if you don't also have perfectly secure code.
So, what's the safety net during this whole messy transition? It's something called hybrid encryption, and it's what pretty much everyone is doing. It's actually a really simple and brilliant idea. You just do two key exchanges at once, one using a trusted classic algorithm and another using the new post-quantum one, and you combine the results. That way, as long as one of them stays secure, your entire connection is safe. It's a belt and suspenders approach.
Now, I know a lot of this might sound a bit theoretical, but let me be absolutely clear. This upgrade is not on some distant roadmap. It is not years away. It is happening right now, silently, across the services you are probably using every single day.
I mean, Signal Messenger has already rolled this out to protect its users. Web browsers like Chrome and Firefox are actively testing it. Big internet infrastructure companies like Cloudflare are already seeing a real, meaningful percentage of web traffic being secured with these new algorithms. This transition is very much underway.
And government deadlines are just pushing this whole thing forward even faster. Just look at this timeline from the NSA. By 2025, national security systems need to offer PQC. By 2033, all the old classical public key crypto has to be gone completely. That puts immense pressure on the entire tech industry to get this done, and get it done fast. The clock is ticking, and it's ticking loudly.
So, the shift to post-quantum cryptography is no longer a question of if, but when. And as we've just seen, when is pretty much right now. This massive, essential, and mostly silent upgrade is happening all around us to protect our digital world for decades to come. And that really leaves just one final question.